afternoon, everyone. 4 o'clock straight up, a Monday edition of Middays with Q, coming at you live right here on Triax57, Triax57.com for this, the 14th of July, 2025. As always, I'm your host, Rich Quinones. 2 hours to play with. We'll take you up to 6 o'clock straight up, and you know exactly what a Monday edition of Middays with Q it is. It is a big time lunes, Manolo Mentiroso, man up Monday. So with that being said, if you tried to just shovel out some BS to us on the air, my faithful listeners, whether it was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, last week, if you had a take, if you had a comment, if you had an opinion that was just so far out of left field, so off base, and you got it wrong, you got to man up on this Monday. As always, we remind you to get social with us. Very easy to do at Triax57 on Facebook, IG, and X. Log on to Triax57.com. And of course, you can follow me on X and IG at Rich Q on Q, TikTok, Rich Q on the mic. All right. So this is, now we are in what we like to really call the flat out dog days of summer. And that's exactly what it is. It's the dog days of summer. It's like, all right, what are we doing here? How are we going to get by over the next several days, over the next week or two? And listen, I get it. Everyone has that football feel. You want to get in the football mode. You want to start breaking down all the divisions. You want to talk about the Giants and the Jets and the Cowboys. You want to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles, and all the Baltimore Ravens and all the teams that you guys are, trying to jockey for position as a fan base. And hopefully you can make a deep run into the playoffs with 2025. Well, this is where we're at. We're at the midway point already of the baseball season with the All-Star game. I don't know. Did you guys remember the All-Star game in baseball? The All-Star game is tomorrow night. And, I know some of the Phillies were not too happy with some of these selections, especially with the Pittsburgh Pirates, which we will get into in a couple moments. Then over the weekend, if you had a chance, I really hope you watched the fights over the weekend. I really hope you did, because I told you exactly, I pretty much laid it out for you, how I thought the card was going to go. I thought it was a fantastic card by MVP, Jake Paul, by Netflix, a couple issues here and there with the audio, but that happens at times. But I thought overall, it was an extremely entertaining card. I thought the Serrano and Taylor bout was competitive. I'll talk a little more about that in the 5 o'clock hour. Ellie Scottney, I told you, watch out for her. You had the kid from North Jersey win a strap as well. So it was listen, overall, Berlinga gets knocked out. Shakur Stevenson won. I'm up till 1:30 in the morning calling a remote that was in Sioux City, Iowa, that decided, hey, let's have 6 amateur bouts at 9:30, and then you start the pro card after. Oh, my goodness. You got to be kidding me with that nonsense. But, that's part of the Man Up Mondays, if you will. So, all right. So, here we go. So let's do this. I have a couple of, I guess you can say, thoughts at where we're at right now, July 14th. So I believe that, midway through the baseball season, and I'll get into the Phillies comments, because the Phillies are not happy with how MLB, with their all-star, their voting process, right? And the Phillies are ripping baseball because they added the kid, and I'll butcher his name, Misiorski, the pitcher from the Pirates. And the all-star game, and the home run derby, it does not have the appeal that it did 20, 30 years ago. And I'll tell you this, the fact that Castellanos came out and said it's turning into the Savannah Bananas is not good. It's not. MLB announced that this kid is going to get the nod, right? He was going to get a selection. He made just 5 starts for Milwaukee. And I'm sorry, I said Pittsburgh. It's Milwaukee. I apologize. So he's going to replace one of the Cubs pitchers on the roster. And the Phillies are pretty much miffed because they believe they got a bunch of all-star snubs. And listen, they had a bunch of pitchers that have pitched really well this season, whether it was Sanchez, whether it's, Luzardo, whether it was Ranger Suarez, whether it was, Wheeler. It is kind of, when you think about it, Schwarber is the Phillies' lone all-star. And to me, it's like, all right, there's something a bit miss with Major League Baseball. But we are at the midway point of the season. And I don't believe at this moment, I'm looking around and there's no team that I sit here and say in mid-July, they're running away with this thing. They're just not. The NL East is competitive between the Phillies and the Mets. The Cubs and the Brewers competitive in the NL Central. Heck, even out west with the Dodgers stumbling a little bit, even though they won 2 straight, they dropped 7 out of their last 10. The Padres are right there. The Giants are right there. And then you look at the AL East. I mean, my Yankees, it's a cluster. They're 2 back of Toronto. All right. Do I want to sit there and say Detroit because that's a bad division? Maybe, but it's a long baseball season. It's a war of attrition. You've got the trade deadline right around the corner. So teams are going to be movers. There's going to be buyers. There's going to be sellers. But I understand what the Phillies, their gripe and why they would be upset. I mean, look, Wheeler has pitched like an all-star. Wheeler is arguably the best pitcher in baseball right now. I mean, and he has been for a while. So again, maybe baseball needs to man up on a Lunes, Manolo, Mentiroso Man Up Monday, and they got to figure out a better system here when it comes to all-star voting and the all-star game, because you're leaving a lot of meat on the bone, man. You really are. You are leaving a lot of meat on the bone. You want the best of the best. I don't need to see every single player from lousy teams represented. I don't. Why? Because I might not get a chance to see him. Well, there's a reason. Their team stinks. I mean, there's a flaw in the system. There is. There's a flaw when it comes to this. And now you got the fan. Vote now. Captain fan vote. Oh, come on. What are we doing with this kind of nonsense? The best players, and I'm sorry, if your team has 3 or 4, then they should be able to represent. Why do we do it in the NFL when you have wall-to-wall Pro Bowls? I told you, I was watching that 93 game, the Giants and the Cowboys, I think, had 6 Pro Bowl selections, 7 Pro Bowl selections on that squad. So I think baseball, you're doing a disservice. Like, you really are. And I understand why some of these teams get ticked off. I understand why some of these players, get ticked off because they're missing out. I mean, there's probably 7 or 8 players that you would say, and let me give them, a second look. And listen, there is, you're sending out a kid that made 5 starts for the Brewers. That is a joke. Seriously. That's a joke. It really is. And it's not about this kid. But you have, Sanchez, Suarez, Trey Turner. They were not named all-stars, right? And I think, listen, I think right now, you can make the case that Suarez and Sanchez are all-stars. You really can. But that's the flaw with baseball. That's the flaw with, again, what we're dealing with right now. And obviously, Zach Wheeler would have been the all-star, but he decided, I want to rest. And I don't have a problem with that. I don't. I don't. He understands exactly what's at stake, and that's okay. You want to opt out, you want to do what's right by the club, that's fine. But you have been the best pitcher in baseball, period. Period. And again, because, Wheeler didn't feel right early on against San Diego. I mean, listen, you can't leave anything to chance, but it is a flawed system. And it's really, if you think about it, it's not fair to some of these players. I don't care. I don't care at all that you got to sit there and tell me that these players, again, they've earned that. Why? Because you're playing a bad team? Because your team stinks? I have to have a rep? Are you kidding me? It's utterly ridiculous. Give me the best players, man. I mean, go back and you look at those all-star rosters in the mid to late 80s. It was, you're talking great teams. Gooden, Carter, Clark, Rhino, Bonilla. Want me to keep going? Steinbach. I mean, it was unbelievable. The American League, Frank Viola, Terry Steinbach, McGuire, Molitor, Boggs, Ripken, Canseco, Winfield, Henderson. Ha! That's like a who's who. The reserves were even good. I mean, you got Don Mattingly as a reserve, Harold Reynolds as a reserve, Ozzie Guillen as a reserve, Mike Greenwell. Remember him, that 87 Topps rookie card with the little trophy in the corner? You thought it was going to be worth something. It's like 10 cents. But you know exactly where I'm going with this. It's flawed. And that's one of the other reasons it's killing the sport of baseball. It is. It is killing the sport of baseball, period. I look around and half of you guys probably didn't even know what the hell was going on. You probably had no idea that the All-Star break was among us. And that's okay. I understand, because some of you are looking ahead to the NFL and football, and rightfully so. But we always talk about attracting eyeballs to the sport. The game of baseball is meant to be played at a certain pace. It is. So you can do the pitch clock. You can try to speed up the game. It's the beauty is, you got to get 27 outs. It should be played a certain way. It should be played a certain way, and we want to try to get that young fan base to the sport. I'm telling you right now, how many of you guys actually knew that we were at the All-Star break? There's 4 or 5, maybe 6 or 7 really recognizable players in baseball. Really 6, 7, but man, I'm telling you, they can do so much better. They can do so much better. And look, you'll get the kid from Pittsburgh taking on Aaron Judge. That's wonderful, right? You get to see those matchups to Slugger, and you see this kid throwing just, 102, 103. You got Ohtani, not a surprise. Acuna Jr., not a surprise. Marte's played well. Freddie Freeman, steady Eddie. Machado, okay. Smith, Tucker, Lindor with the Mets, and then the kid Armstrong, the center fielder with the Cubs. The AL, Torres, who's quietly put together a really nice season for the Tigers. Green, decent player, left field. Judge, obviously. The catcher from the Mariners is having, we talk about Aaron Judge. If Aaron Judge doesn't put the numbers that he's putting up, this kid Cal Raleigh is putting up monster numbers for the Mariners. Guerrero Jr., O'Hearn, the third baseman for the Rays, his name escapes me. Baez for the Tigers. Wilson for the Athletics. You got, again, you talk about the starting pitchers. I'm okay with that. You got the reserves as well, but there should be players on these rosters that are not on these rosters. And just because you want to showcase a player or two, I don't really think you have to. Not every team needs to be representative is kind of my point. I think that's one of the issues with baseball. All right, 13 past 4 o'clock hour. Let's crank it up on a Lunes Manolo Man Up Mendioso Monday edition of Middays with Q. Oh, we will get into the NFL as well in about 20, 25 minutes. De facto, who, still, even though we start the show off talking baseball, don't you dare bring up the MLB draft. We're not that desperate. What are you talking about? That's so, again, we talk about it. If I want to talk about the friggin' MLB draft, I'm going to. I'm not catering to you. You need to learn to read the room. And that's the problem with the de facto, the Bunker Boys. I mean, it's unbelievable. How long we been doing this? Madman knows with his passive-aggressive comment and his subtle shot to de facto. Maybe we talk about the Commanders. See, Madman gets it. He understands how to read the room. He totally understands it. I mean, I'm telling you, these Eagles fans, unbelievable. Joey B, how are you? Let's see. I'm sure Joey B has some snide comment somewhere in there. Let's see. It says, good afternoon to Madman. Man Up Monday. Yes, we got you. It's July 14th. New York Football Giants are already on the clock. Red Sox on a 10-game win streak entering the break with the eyeballs. Yes. Yeah. For the Sox fans out there, and we got a couple of them that chime in. Yeah, I will man up. I was close to saying, well, the Yankees had an opportunity to make the Red Sox irrelevant and cook them, and they just couldn't do it. Red Sox have been on. I mean, they're playing some of their base baseball, but let's also back it up. Back it up for a second. Okay, if you're a Red Sox fan, and I'm not trying to rain on your little Boston party here, right? They said they were dressed as cops. They were dressed as cops. 2 out of 3 against the Reds. You sweep a bad Nationals team and one of the worst teams in baseball in Colorado. And then Tampa, I'll give you that, even though they're 5.5 back. And the pitching has been much better for the Boston Red Sox. It's been much, much, much better. They only gave up 8 total runs in that 4-game sweep over Tampa Bay. So I'll give you that, Sox fan. I will give you that. All-Star game for MLB. Dress the National and American League teams in their home away uniforms. Bring back the pageantry. Ooh, back in the day. Back in the day. Yes, we can definitely do that. All-Star game. Players wear white cleats. Why not? Q's hair today on the clock, too. I mean, listen, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, just, once in a while, I'm telling you, he's just, the syrup and, the little Trace Simeon, the little wax, and you just let it go in there, and you just you just be free and wild, Joey B. That's what we do. Every time I tune in, I feel like the Death Star mic is going to tase Q in. The Death Star mic has been on a run, right? It's been on a run. Yeah, that was my little mini Monday rant, but trust me, I have several more. Today. I have several more. I heard the Angel Martinez is more interested in the WNBA All-Star game than the MLB All-Star game. Angel, I felt so bad. So Angel chimes in on Friday, and we bookmarked Angel for like 5:05. And I was so locked in when what were we talking about? Oh, we were talking about all the gutsy performances over the last 20, 30 years in sports. And Angel was basically sitting there, hanging out till about 5:45, ringing the bell, trying to get in. Not good. MLB draft should never be on TV. Yeah, snoozy fest. I mean, you can't make everything like the NFL draft is the NFL draft. Period. It's just now it's an event. The NBA draft, not so much. MLB draft, NHL draft, I'm not being disrespectful at all, but it's boring. It's boring. The NFL draft, too, here's the other problem with these drafts. If you go on social media and you're following, some of these talking heads, these quote insiders, you already know who's being drafted and you're 15, 20 seconds ahead. I told you guys this. I use this as an example. And Lloyd could validate this. Because years ago, I used to cover the draft. But I'll never forget, it was the year that Flacco got drafted, which was 2008 because the Giants won in 2007. Flacco wasn't in New York. But yet, every time Lloyd and I peeked up and it was time for the Ravens to draft, they would have a camera in his house. You already knew he was being drafted. And that's really before social media, Facebook, IG, X, TikTok. I mean, in the infancy with TikTok, I'm sorry, with X. I mean, I don't probably right around that time. But you already knew. Now these guys are tweeting it out like it's hotcakes, man. They're ordering left and right, just tweet. So you already know, or XXXX, whatever the heck you want to call it. ML draft on TV, wannabe NFL, NBA now. Yeah. See, the difference is between the NFL draft and the NBA draft. And this, once again, shows you, by the way, I'm glad you brought that up, Man and Joey, because this goes to show you that the NFL, anything the NFL does, it's always a spectacle. It's always an event. It can't be topped. It can't be duplicated. And you can't compare with others. The NFL draft, we're talking about it a month away. We're talking about these quarterbacks moving. We're doing our mock drafts. Where's our team going to draft? Are they going to trade up? Are they going to trade down? Who are the players to watch? Who's a franchise quarterback, a running back? What's going on? We're looking at all these drafts, whether it's, Pro Football News, Pro Football Talk, Yahoo, CBS, Fox, ESPN. We're reading. So we know as diehard football fans, we're watching college football on Saturdays. We're watching college football on Thursdays. So we know exactly who the hell these players are and if their stock is moving or going down or going up. And obviously, we're more in tune to it because as fans or talking heads, we're doing our due diligence. We're doing our research. We're looking around and see, all right, what are the Eagles going to do? What are the Ravens doing? The Dallas Cowboys, the 49ers, the Giants, the Raiders, the Jets. What are they doing? The Commanders, what are they doing? Are they going to move up? They're going to move down? Oh, man, they're looking at this kid, the DB from Colorado. Oh, they're looking at this kid, the nose tackle from Clemson. Oh, they're looking at this kid, the linebacker from Georgia. I remember this kid. He was a beast in the SEC. He was a beast in the Pac-10. NBA, same thing. NBA, same thing because of college basketball. Because of college basketball. March Madness. It's when the stocks go up or down. Period. NHL, no. Baseball, you guys have no idea. You might find out in another week or two. Oh, I didn't know that kid resided in my hometown. Oh, I didn't know that kid was in North Jersey. Oh, I didn't know that kid was in Tampa. Oh, I didn't know that kid was in the Northeast. Oh, I had no idea he was from the Jersey Shore. Oh, look, that kid's from Long Island. You have no idea. Football is king, period. And now, when you think about it, I would go NFL. I know we talked about this a while ago, but NFL, then you're probably leaning into NBA. Baseball and hockey's last. It just shows you. You're not going to get those eyeballs. You watch this stuff and you're like, wait, who is this? Let me see. Let me Google MLB draft. Oh, all right. Favorite draft one days, Kylie McDaniels. Who the hell are you? Sorry. Are you a writer? Are you a mock draft expert? Oh, look, there's the draft tracker. You have no idea. You have absolutely no idea. Now, look, do I follow what the Yankees did? They took a flyer on the high school kid. They're going to try to pry him away from college. Yeah, because I'm a Yankees fan. But the novice sports fan, the diehard football fan or hoops fan, I'm not watching that nonsense. Please. You're not. You're not. You're just not watching that nonsense at all. I don't blame you. I don't blame you because it doesn't have the cachet. It doesn't have the juice. The NFL draft, you guys are locked in. Oh my goodness. If your team has a top 10 and it's your night out with the missus, you're not going. She's in labor. Hold it. You want to know exactly who you're drafting because you know by one move in the top 10, it can change the course. It can change the direction of your entire franchise. And to some extent, the same thing in the NBA with the draft lottery. All right, sometimes we know, like this year, everyone knew that Cooper Flag was going to go first. And to some extent, we kind of knew who the Titans were going to take with the number one pick in April. We knew. But we followed leading up because all the talk was, oh, it might be Shedeur Sanders. Could be Ward. Oh, look at this kid from, Ole Miss. Look at this kid Dart. This kid from Penn State's, we're more inclined to follow that because football is 24/7, 365. It is. I told you the other day I'm watching 1993 regular season finale. Regular season finale, by the way, just to clarify. Regular season finale, not the playoff game. Regular season finale. Giants and the Cowboys. Giants and the Cowboys. I'm watching America's game. I'm watching highlights. I'm watching these Super Bowl highlights. I'm going back. I'm looking at these Hall of Fame speeches. I'm looking at these careers, when they showcase all these great players, a football life. That's fantastic content. It's perfect right now in the dog days of summer. Yeah, you got Summer League, you got WNBA, you got baseball. But it is right now, July, you start to look ahead. Everyone broke, right? OTAs, now training camp, preseason, and it's the NFL season. That's it. These other sports, they can't compete. They just can't. Even when you got the Olympics going on, you got the World Cup going on. As much as I love watching the World Cup, as much as I love watching the Summer Olympics, when there's football news, it's 365. It's kind of what we're leaning off with. It just is. All right, 26 past the 4 o'clock hour, cranking up. A lot of comments coming in. We'll fire them off. We will get into a little aforementioned NFL. It's all about reading the room on a Monday. If you don't read the room, I'm telling you right now, your comment is just gonna disappear in space. That's it. It's a Lunes Manolo Mentiroso Man Up Monday. And as I said, we call out your BS takes, your picks, your opinions, whatever you're coming to the table with, or their lack of. We are on YouTube as well as X. And of course, Triax57, Triax57.com and their Facebook page. Some comments coming in. I want to get to all the comments. All right, keep it locked in. Quick time out. We'll come back on the other side. I want to hear what you guys have to say on this Monday.
Blast got the drinks pouring. Take a risk like it's a short thing. Going in, yeah, I'm going all in. Get it cool out, yeah, you can bring a friend. Dive right in, let's go. Do more than dip in the flow. Let the rhythm take control. It's going down tonight, yeah. Dive right in, let's go. Do more than dip in the flow. Let the rhythm take control. It's going down tonight, yeah. Dive right in.
This is what the Down Beach Seafood Fest is all about. It's about community, it's about friends, it's about culture, right? The food culture in Atlantic County is rich.
Hidden in an abandoned campground in South Jersey lies a mystical encounter with booze and spirits, where bonfires burn, shadows dance, and flavor favors the bold. Ghosts, ghouls, goblins, grown-ups, it's time to reclaim Halloween. This is Witchcraft, October 10th and 11th. For tickets and information, visit witchcraftnj.com.
Hi, I'm Bruce Pesco. I'm very fortunate. Years ago, I found something that I genuinely like to do, and it's something that helps other people. What I do is help people transition from traditional health insurance into Medicare. I've been doing it here in Atlantic County for more than 20 years. If you're getting ready for Medicare, call me for a free consultation. 609-484-9800.
All right, 4:30 on a Lunes Manolo Mentiroso Man Up Monday edition of Middays with Q on this gorgeous July 14th, 2025. Hope everyone had a good sports weekend. Let me get some of these comments. Kevin C chimes in. Q, I don't really follow too much of how the voting is done in baseball. I'm a little more old school like you, but the bottom line is they're trying to showcase some of these players on these poor teams to draw eyeballs to smaller markets. Yeah, but again, as much as we want to see some of these guys, some of these players on the stage and exposed, that's great. But and maybe it's because of the market or the area, I mean, if you look at, the Jersey, the Philly, the New York, the DC, you're talking large markets. Those are major. I mean, obviously, New York is a major television, major media, major TV market. I don't think the Yankee or Met fan, wants to see a Rockies player or a Reds player. I mean, I'm being honest. I'm really being honest, and call me stuck up in that regard. So be it. Bring back the paper voting system for the All-Star game. Can only vote in person. Punch the hole in the ticket forms they hand out. Man, I mean, what is that? Now I'm just going to ask you too, Joey. Is that how much are tickets? Talking about $1.36, right? You got the old school radio with the broadcaster. Here comes Vagaboy. I mean, popcorn bag. They're not going to do that. Everything now, go online, promo code, scan this, scan that, scan this, scan that. Not happening. I like the idea. I like the thought, but it's just no one's competing with the NFL. They're just not. They're trying to make this, like the high school, these kids, the signing day. You know why there's no more signing day? Because all these kids are sending NIL deals and they're getting ready to hit the portal, the transfer portal. Remember that used to be big? Where's the kid going to go? He's going to show his hat. Yeah, in some states, it's big. In Ohio, in Florida, in Texas, it's big. They want the camera on these kids to see what's going on. But other than that, no one cares anymore because as soon as that kid signs, he's signing an NIL deal or he already signed one. Agree 100% NFL draft. It's their thing. It's great for most part. Huge. Other pro sports trying to copycat the vibe will never compete with their drafts. Never. And we complain. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous footage, how long it is. Draft order from best to worst. NFL, NBA, WNBA, NHL, MLB. De facto almost bringing something to the table on a Monday. NFL, yes. NBA, yes. WNBA, because of the recent success and the ratings and the eyeballs. NHL, MLB, fielder's choice. I really, it does nothing for me. It just doesn't. It just doesn't because, again, you have to think about it like this. The NHL is a long season. The NBA is a long season. Baseball is a long season. The NFL, it's not. It's not a long season. We think it is because we get to August, but it's maybe as you get older, because the days go faster, you watch these games and you blink and it's 4 weeks in, it's 6 weeks in, it's 7 weeks in, you're halfway through, you're near the playoffs. Then you have the Super Bowl. So we kind of like hold it tight and we don't want to let go as football fans because it's only a 20-something odd week odyssey journey. But hell, baseball, we're in the All-Star break. The first half of the season flew by. Don't get me wrong. But then July, August, September, creeping into late September, October, baseball, it's still another 4 months. And we're already just locked into football unless your baseball team is playing well. If your baseball team's playing well and your football team's playing well in the same market, that's great. That's great. Now you kind of pick and choose the lesser of two evils. You're going to sit there game 6 of the World Series or week 5. Well, you're probably going to be inclined to game 6 of the World Series and maybe just flick around a little bit with the football. So yeah, it's just, man's correct. All these leagues are trying to mimic the hype the NFL gets for the draft. That's all they're trying to do. That is all they're trying to do. And it's never going to work. Period. Someone should tell these other leagues, see, nobody cares. That guy Louie owes me $20. You got him out of your life for $20. Ooh, whoa. What do we got here? Hold on. It's National Mac and Cheese Day, Q. As a society, we got to stop this. Every day is something day. Oh, you're not a fan of that. Interesting. You're not a fan of that. You're not a fan of Mac and Cheese Day, or you're not a fan of every day is something day, right? Sibling day, sister day, brother day, you have the old Hallmark holidays, right? Because that's all they are. Mother's Day and Father's Day. That's a commercial holiday, man. That's it. That's, obviously the other holidays, right? The big boys. I mean, you can't even walk into Target or Walmart in December and sit there and say, "Oh, Merry Christmas." No, 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 no. Can't do it. It's got to be Happy Holidays. Remember growing up? Merry Christmas. Have a good Christmas. Happy Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas Eve. Happy Holidays. And Merry Christmas. No, no, no. No. You'll get the Death Star mics there. You will. You will. Oh, hold on a second. Ball jumping in. How about this? Bringing a little heat with the tour. The tour goes into the Mountains Day. Oh, that's not bad. Is it really? Is every day something? I'm not a fan of that. I think there are certain days that should be special, right? Not like in The Godfather when it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday. No. I'm not talking about Apollonia trying to learn English, right? And then driving, and we know how that ended. Not good. But sibling day, daughter day, Sunday, well, I mean, there is Sunday, but you know what I'm saying. Like Father's Day, Mother's Day, that's fine. You can call your grandparents up. That's fine. Grandparents. But again, do we need it? I mean, are we clinging on to something? What are we doing? Like, are we just, is it a marketing thing? Listen, don't get me wrong. I got the little one. She's sleeping right now. She's out like Kiki. Pet day, I'm going to spoil her a little bit. Her birthday, I'm going to spoil her a little bit. But, is it like wear a collared shirt to work day? Is that what we're doing? Don't forget. How about, what days they should come up with? Hold on. I have 5 days they should come up with. How about stop at a friggin' stop sign day and not roll through it? How about that? That's not a bad day. That's not a bad day, right? How about, stop racing by someone and then you both get to the light at the same time, and then I got to avoid looking over at you just to say, "Huh, jerk." How about that day? Can we get that? Oh, I got another one for you. How about, thanks for holding the door for me day? Can we have a thanks holding the door for me day? I mean, it's not a Wednesday. It's not a Woosah Wednesday, but I think Joey triggered something with these days, with this mac and cheese day. I mean, it's almost as bad as me getting 1,000 invitations on Facebook to like certain pages. And by the way, I got another one today, and I'm going to need your help on this, because I don't know if this is legit, and I know where we're going with this, because I know how you guys think, you heathens. I know exactly how you guys think. So I got invited, and I'm I know for a fact that Madman and Joey are going to be on this one. I don't know if I should actually accept this invite. This is an only Cookie fans invite on Facebook. Only Cookie fans, not only fans, but only Cookie fans. Now, that's left up to interpretation. But I'm sharing with the audience. I'm sharing with the loyal Q crew, because you guys know what I should do in this situation. I don't know what I should do in this situation. It's National Wear Bike Shorts Day. Interesting. Only valuable household. Ride a Schwinn 10 speed to work day. I'm telling you, I think there should be a thank you for holding the door for me. Tell your dog to sleep day. Yes. I agree. I would have no problems with that. I won't. Speaking of goofiness, and like there's always something going on in the world, and I want to get to some of these comments, and then I want to bring this up because I am very, very, very curious to see what you guys think of this story, because it is a Man Up Monday. And I read this story and I'm thinking to myself, this person needs to man up. Carter chimes in, Q, you got to get rid of fan voting in baseball. All right. Jackie Boy says fan voting just makes being an all-star illegitimate. Every new rule change MLB makes is all about TV money and viewership. Many such cases, always enjoying the show, Q. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see. Kevin C. We got Sarge. Oh, how about this one? Too much info chimes in. That's Murph. Q. Good to hear you back on the, quote, airwaves. MLB All-Star Game should be at the end of the season. Every team should be represented, and the voting shouldn't be popularity contests. Huh. Sir Francis. Q, enjoying the shirt today. Thank you very much, my friend. MLB All-Star Game voting is blank, blank, blank. Fans should have zero control to pick All-Stars. Yeah, it's all the incentive too, right? Remember that? Did we not talk about that? Was it Soto that mentioned something about the incentive? So it's not good, but who's going to watch? Like, are you guys going to watch the All-Star Game tomorrow night? Are you? Right? Let me see. It should be not. De facto chimes in. Q would make bank on OnlyFans. You know what? That's not. Again, I think you might be onto something. Now, the man, yes. Who doesn't like a cookie? A little cup of coffee. You go to the diner. You get topped off, a little freshen you up, top you off a little bit. You get the large cookies, like the big ones, not the small ones. Black and white cookie, by the way. Look to the cookie. We can end a lot of nonsense in the world with the black and white cookie. But the page itself, if I go back, only cookie fans. And I'm a little skeptical to hit accept. I might have to vet a little more. Normal people shouldn't be voting for anything. National Only Cookie Fans Day or Only Snooki Day. It's not Snooki, it's Cookie. I'm telling you right now. And it could be a very legit page for people that have a sweet tooth. I don't know, Joey. What I'm doing is I'm just passing it along to you. That's all. Sarge chimes in, Q, no way I'm actually going to watch the All-Star Game. The voting process sucks, and as a Yankees fan, I can care less. All right. Man. No, small cookies are the best. You get those black and white cookies, and you break them, like you break them in half, right? You figure out a way to get a little bit of the white, a little bit of black, a little dip in the coffee. You're good to go. But they are big cookies, and there is a lot of sugar in those cookies. Period. Q, do you see your boy Jaden Daniels looks locked in? Ha, ha, ha. Tell that to De Facto. Oh, Salim, the Washington fan. Wow. Brought up the Commanders at 443. Doesn't understand about reading the room. Period. Famous Amos, I got to be honest, overrated. Overrated. I mean, if you're going, if we're going to sit here and say that if we're going all time, like cookie list, right? If you're going all time, if you're going flavor first, you can't go wrong with the chocolate chip. Now, some will say oatmeal trumps chocolate chip. I'm not going to go that route, but I would sit there and say, you got to go chocolate chip. You got to go peanut butter cookie. You go sugar cookies, maybe top 5. Can you see the butter cookie sneaking into the top 5? I don't know. Macaroon, you throw that into the mix. That's considered a cookie. It's related to the cookie. So if we're trying to, now, I'll take it a step further. If you want to go all time, then I will say at this moment, period, the Thin Mint is right there. It's underrated. It's the Timmy Duncan of the cookies. It just gets the job done. It just does. It really does. I missed the, what is that? Spinning dessert fridge in New Jersey diners, the cakes and the pies. The spinning fridge when you were a kid was the best. You'd walk up to it, right? And you'd have that old grumpy person in the back telling you don't tap on the glass. You sit there and be like, don't tap on the glass. Small cookies. All right, you guys go with the small cookies. That's fine. Famous Amos represented on Rushmore. No way. No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. I'm sorry. It's not a Mount Rushmore of cookies. It's not. I just can't do it. It's a good cookie. Don't get me wrong. It's a good cookie, but I don't think and this is no disrespect to Famous Amos. It's not. I mean, you go back, 1975, Wally Amos, bite-sized chocolate chip cookie. Good stuff. 100% good stuff, but I don't know. What about the Oreo? The original? Can we go with the GOAT? I mean, if you're going top 5 right now, top 5, if you had to, make a list, because you know how much we love list on the show. If we're going top 5, we're going, label manufacturer or just flavor itself. You throw in the Oreo. You have to. You got to throw in any type of peanut butter cookie, sugar cookie, right? You have to. I'm trying to think what else. Marie, who is a on and off listener, says, how about and she has the Tommy DeVito, the biscuit. Do we throw that? Do we throw that in there as well? The biscotti. Do we throw that in there? A nice little cup of coffee. She literally messaged in with the DeVito. Makes a great argument with Famous Amos. Caramel Delight, top of the list. Thin Mint. Thin Mint is your all-time seller. Really? You're gonna argue Thin Mint with me? You go right now, or the peanut butter one, and Girl Scout cookies. Without a doubt. You never go wrong. Everyone always, okay, man, let's be honest. Doorbell rings. You're sitting there, you're watching your 49ers, you're watching your Red Sox. Girl Scout comes, little troop, troop 316. Here we go, right? What do you say? You say, how much are the cookies? And then the second question inevitably always is, do you have any Thin Mints? That's a fact, man. You cannot dispute that. And you guys know it's absolutely true. You cannot tell me otherwise. Black and white, 100%. 100%. 100%. We had a saying when watching sports replays, win the slow-mo, win the cookie. Joey going with the butter cookie with the fruit center. That's tough. That's like, you go to grandmom's house and she has the old, you remember the ribbon candy? It was like stuck to the bowl. Remember that? No pretzels, no chips, but you had the ribbon candy, right? I mean, now on a day like today, for some of you guys, if you're listening, I mean, Joe D in South Philly, I know right now is probably laughing. He's in his 60s, I believe, and probably as a kid, he remembers a day like today. You walk in and you sit down on the sofa and it's got what? It's got the cover on it. And you get up and it just, it's tearing off and you're sweating and you're soaked. And then you try to grab a thing of ribbon candy and it sticks and you pull up the whole bowl. Oh my goodness. Yes. Look to cookie, Joey. You always have to look to cookie. So aside from that, hold on a second. De facto coming in strong with this. You're going the Milano. You're going the Oreo. All right, Famous Amos 3. You're going Nutter Butter Thin Mint. I give you some credit here. Milano Oreos, and the Thin Mint, not bad. Not bad. That's, I mean, you're talking like that's an all-star lineup, period. That's an all-star lineup. What do you got here? Monday Marcus chimes in. Q, I'm laughing out loud driving on my lunch break. It's 4:49, Marcus, but he says, as far as the cookies, you have not left out one of the all-time greatest cookies. And he gives me a ... Are you ready for this one, guys? This is horrible. This cookie that he's bringing up. Uh, what is this? Did you guys ever hear this? Macadamia nut cookie? Nah, can't do it. I can't do it. I can't. That's not bad. Nick and Wally for chimes in. Q, how'd you score the fight the other night? Serrano and Taylor was close. I thought Serrano got robbed. She didn't get robbed. We knew the fight was going to be close. 97-93, 97-93, 95-95. I thought it was a little closer than 97-93. But this is what everyone who's arguing over the last 24 to 48 hours, right, about that Serrano fight being really close and being robbed and all this stuff, they forget one point. And it's really there when you watch the fights. It doesn't matter on any level. When you have a very close fight and you have a trilogy, you're not going to get, it's very rare you get the action, the nonstop phonetical pace, the ebb and flow, the swings that you got in the first one, especially if it was a barn burner, which it was. Second one, barn burner, close fight, the explosiveness. You're not getting that. Because by the third time, you got fighters that are older, a little more wear and tear. You got fighters that pretty much know each other like the back of their hands, and you're not going to get the type of punch output that you had in the first two fights. And nobody's talking about that. Nobody wants to bring that up. And it's pretty clear. It's evident. It's evident. So again, I'm not sitting here saying that people that are disagreeing, hey, that's your opinion. And I don't think a lot of people, when people post, they sit there and say, well, I'm not, you got to be an expert here. No one's got to be an expert. But like me, just my opinion, covering the sport as long as I have, calling the fights as long as I have, they were both tentative. And Nick, you might not agree, but it showed. And in a close fight like that, there's not going to be a ton of volume being thrown, a ton of volume punches being thrown. So what are the judges looking at the most critical time? They're looking at that first 30-second flurry, that ending 30-second flurry. So now you got to look at every landed punch, which is so vital, even jabs being thrown. That's going to be the deciding factor. You were not going to get that type of action in the third one. Now, I love the classiness of both fighters after, period. And I love what they've done for the sport of boxing. Class act. But if anyone went into that fight thinking you were going to get the type of repeat performance you saw in 1 and 2, you weren't. And you knew 3 was going to be close. And I even text my buddy, I think if it's close, you got Serrano. It's in New York. She might get edge right there. She might have the benefit of the doubt. But when you have a fight that not a lot of punches were thrown and landed, every little punch counts. Even the soft little jab. That's all. Soft little jab. Joey says, I just grew another chin listening to this cookie segment. Well, I mean, because of the page, right? Because of the page. More crystal dishes got broke from ribbon candy. Oh, my God. Are you kidding? Because you don't know. I mean, think about this. It was almost like beat the clock. Like if you found a way, if you went to your grandparents' house or your aunt and uncle's house growing up and they had the friggin' ribbon candy right there on the table and you're looking at it and you're eyeing it up. First of all, let's be fully transparent. We never tried to get in the dish when people were around because you knew what was going to happen. You would be fiddling. You might drop it. Might hit the pooch. Might hit your cousin or your younger sibling. The candy might fly. You had to wait for everyone to embark in the kitchen, and they were in there for hours. So when they were in there, you kind of would look around, make sure that the coast was clear. Then you would do the dirty work. You'd sit there, and it's almost like you're trying to deactivate a bomb here. You're looking, all right, what do I got to do? Here's the, and the green with the white with the mint, that was good, but sometimes it was on the bottom. So you just had to maneuver a little bit. If you were lucky, maybe you grab a set of car keys that the old man left on the counter and you grab and you start to chip away. But you had to stop. You had to stop. As soon as somebody came in, you sat right back down and then you had the plastic stick to you. Like I'm telling you guys. I'm telling you right now, not good. Nutter butter, solid, but not great. Joey B says, laughing blank, blank, blank. Ribbon candy in the candy dish. Can you bring me back to my North Jersey days at Granny's house? Yeah, the ribbon candy was underrated. It was horrible for your teeth, right? De facto leader of the Bunker Boys. Great call on the Milano. That's not bad. I give him, you know what? A couple guys are actually saying I'm a little too critical of de facto, but he came in strong with that cookie list. I just don't know if I am going to accept that invite. I don't know. I have to really, really think about it. Really. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Marcus, Monday Marcus is no longer Monday Marcus. It's now going to be Marcus Macadamian Nut. So anytime he chimes in, that's what it's going to be. Yeah. Now, hold on a second. Before we hit a break, I don't know how the hell we got through an hour of cookie talk and sports talk, but you guys are fantastic. But before we hit a break, now you're talking Milano. Do you remember the Seinfeld episode when they went to Vegas to go find Kramer because Kramer was accused of being the Smog City Strangler, right? And they're in the cop car. And George is like, I'm so hungry. And then they look and they're like, what is that? Cops eating Milano? But I'm going to ask you a question. If you're going that route, then we have to be fair. You guys are talking about Famous Amos. I don't hear any love. Nobody's mentioned Pepperidge Farm. I'm going to let you guys think about that. I got a lot coming in on the ribbon candy. We got some NFL in the 5 o'clock hour. The Milano style cookies at Starbucks with half chocolate on them, also amazing. Always sold out. I never have been a Starbucks fan. My fresh roasted, as you know, but I was never a big fan of Starbucks coffee. Thought it was very, it just priced ridiculously. Really priced ridiculously. I mean, what is an 8-ounce Starbucks cup of coffee go for? About $17, right? Pepperidge Farm, amazing. What about the soft cookies from the red bag? Can't remember the company. Oh, that's a good pull. Or those Christmas ones that had the sprinkles on them. I'm telling you, we got to do a Mount Rushmore one day. A Mount Rushmore of the cookies. We do it sports. We do it our list all the time. O chimes in Q. Great analysis on the fight. Every jab counted. I had Taylor edging Serrano. I thought it was an outstanding night of boxing. Yeah. $3 for a cup of coffee. I mean, you got a muffin with it? $3? Wow. So if you go to Starbucks, let's just say you hit it in the morning, you hit it at lunch, conservative, you're going 3-4 times a week, you're in for what, 15, like Costanza. Now you're talking almost $800 a year. A year. I mean, but here's the difference to coffee at the diner. Here's the difference. Now follow me on this. You finish your coffee or you got half left. What does the waitress offer? What does the waitress do? What's the verbiage she will use if you're almost down midway through? And that's the difference between the diner coffee and say a Wawa or a Starbucks or insert coffee place. I mean, what do? You're sitting there, man, you strike me as a guy that is among the people. You strike me as a guy that will sit at the counter. You will not sit at a table. That's just me. I believe you will sit among the people, but the waitress walks by. Come on, what are we doing here? We're going to freshen you up. We're going to top you off. You're not paying for that. You're not going to pay for, you're not getting charged for refills. Come on. You know better than that. Pepperidge Farm, indeed, very underrated out of the bag product. Okay, forgot that. Who remembers the green and pink leaf cookies? Those were the best. Oh my God. You can't just grab one of those. You could. Those are the Italian cookies. You couldn't just grab one of those. Those are Italian leaf cookies. You had to get like 7 of them. Oh, absolutely. That's a fantastic pull. All right, 5 o'clock straight up. More cookie talk. I don't know if I'm gonna accept this invite. And oh, by the way, I have a man up story for you. A man up story for you. And I don't know if this person's ever going to do it, but they're going to have a lot of time on their hands thinking about it. NFL talk as well. A little more baseball talk, some boxing comments coming in. 5 o'clock, 60 in the books, 60 to play with. We'll take you up to 6 o'clock right here on a Monday edition of Middays with Q. It is a Lunas Manolo Mentioso Man Up Monday edition. Rich Quinones here. And of course, we are always on Triax57.com, their Facebook page, also on X and YouTube. Quick timeout.
The glass got the drinks pouring. Take a risk like it's a short thing. Going in, yeah, I'm going all in. Get it cool out, yeah, you can bring a friend. Dive right in, let's go. Do more than dip in the flow. Let the rhythm take control. It's going down tonight, yeah. Dive right in, let's go. Do more than dip in the flow. Let the rhythm take control. It's going down tonight, yeah. Dive right in.
This is what the Down Beach Seafood Fest is all about. It's about community, it's about friends, it's about culture, right? The food culture in Atlantic County is rich.
Hidden in an abandoned campground in South Jersey lies a mystical encounter with brews and spirits, where bonfires burn, shadows dance, and flavor favors the bold. Ghosts, ghouls, goblins, grown-ups, it's time to reclaim Halloween. This is Witchcraft, October 10th and 11th. For tickets and information, visit witchcraftnj.com.
Hi, I'm Bruce Pascoe. I'm very fortunate. Years ago, I found something that I genuinely like to do, and it's something that helps other people. What I do is help people transition from traditional health insurance into Medicare. I've been doing it here in Atlantic County for more than 20 years. If you're getting ready for Medicare, call me for a free consultation. 609-484-9800.
By the way, I didn't think cookies would stir up such controversy. Coincidentally, Chip in the Northeast, go figure, says, Q, without a doubt, it's Oreo cookie. Hands down, end of discussion, Mount Rushmore, the GOAT. Perhaps. All right, let me get to a couple more of these comments as well. And then we'll go through and see what you guys have to say on this very busy Monday. We went through that. Man. Starbucks by my office in Denver for Venti Caramel Macchiato. Whatever happened to just regular coffee, Joey? What a friggin' prima donna you are. $7.65, ridiculous. People go there 2 times a day? Talking like $2.40 a month? I get so mad whenever I forget to bring my coffee mug to work. Yeah, I mean that should be on your to-do list. Now you're talking about the entrepreneur spirit. Keurig machine, they don't supply it. K-cups or regular cups. See, that's horrible. What's the hell is the point of having a Keurig machine if work doesn't provide K-cups? You know what? I'm not going to tell you what to do, but you might want to talk to HR or the upper management, or honestly, you might want to quit that job. All right. So, I mean, honestly, it's like when George was all bent out of shape because he wasn't allowed to use the executive men's room. All right, so NFL. How about this? Guys getting paid, and guys already want to get traded, and it might be time to start. Well, it's July 14th. Yeah, why not? Let me pick on Nick Sirianni a little bit. Why not? We got some news and notes to get into. So, NFL-wise, Garrett Wilson, monster deal, 4 years, $130 million with the New York Jets. It'll mark the first time in NFL history that a receiver has received an average over $31 million. This kid played just 3 seasons. Now, I'm wondering, what's going to go, on with his production. He's been a beast. He's got to get it in the end zone more. But now, they got Fields throwing him the football. And that's the Jets. They're paying. They want to pay for that star. And I saw this coming out of San Francisco with, who is this, Jennings right now. I mean, you want to talk about Juwan Jennings manning up. You want a new deal or you want to be traded. He's scheduled to make 7.5 in the final year of that deal. What about just honoring the friggin' contract? I just don't get it. This is the same situation the 49ers were in with a receiver who wants to be paid or traded. It's the same thing that happened last year with Brandon Ayuk. The same exact thing. You signed the contract, honor the contract. Just because other receivers are getting paid or their contracts are up or their rookie contracts are up or the scale's going up, just, sorry, man. Sorry. That's the contract you signed. Period. Now, I love this story. This is great. So here we go. It is July 14th. So there's this sentiment, this notion that's floating around now that because the Eagles, when they started 2-2, everyone said, including myself, you got to run the friggin' football with Saquon Barkley in that offensive line. So the Eagles start the season 2-2. And remember, I told you if they would have lost that game, what was it, to the Saints? Who knows? Coming out of the bye, you lost to Atlanta. Maybe Sirianni gets fired. So they changed their offensive approach. And this is for the Jalen Hurts haters out there because you guys will love this. So they started to run the ball more with Saquon, and he had a career year. They went 12-1 down the stretch. Saquon finished with 2,005 yards, 13 touchdowns, offensive player of the year. They ran roughshod into the playoffs and then the Super Bowl. The rest is history. So Sirianni came out and had a response in regards to the notion that Jalen Hurts was along for the ride during the Super Bowl run last year. He said, I think that's blank, blank, BS. I mean, he plays the most important position in all of sports, which we can agree upon, Nick. That's fine. And it's the most ultimate team game there is. And what I admire about him is his selflessness of doing anything we need to do to win. So even after winning a Super Bowl, I just did. I brought it up. He's got to man up. What are you talking about? He's got to man up. 4-13 for who? The Eagles or your 49ers? After winning a Super Bowl, after blowing out Kansas City, after becoming a Super Bowl MVP and outperforming Patrick Mahomes twice on the big stage, losing a couple years ago, but coming back last February and outshining Patty Mahomes, there is still a notion there is still a sentiment of the masses, of the populace, of the population, of the football fan, the talking heads, the yappers on TV that still believe Jalen Hurts is an average quarterback. That's exactly that comment, that response, that notion. That's how people are still looking at Jalen Hurts. And I can see already, I got Dallas fans chiming in right now. Big D is a Dallas fan. Q, look at the numbers that he finished with. All right, so he finished the season with the least amount of attempts, 361. Passing yards, 2903, since he became a full-time starter in 2021. Does that matter? Seriously, does that matter? Because look what he did in the playoffs, and then ultimately look what he did against Kansas City. He completed 70% of his throws. 70%. I'm sorry, 77%. He accounted for 3 touchdowns and he earned MVP honors. Does it really matter if Saquon Barkley, everyone, look, it's the elephant in the room. Yeah, Saquon, he had a monster year. He carried them. Who cares? Does that mean Jalen Hurts is any less of a quarterback? De facto, trying to read the room still, does Wilson's contract help Terry McLaurin or your Commanders? I don't, for someone who doesn't want to talk about Washington football, who's, someone that, again, thinks the Washington Commanders, because I went on the record last year, I was the only person in the world that said Washington was going to push the Eagles, maybe win a division, but make the playoffs. And everyone scoffed at me. You mocked me. You heckled me. You trolled me. You told me I was cooked. Just call it a day. And they surprised everyone and made it all the way to the NFC Championship. I don't know why. I think this is what's going on right now. This is my theory. I believe the Eagles fan is starting to worry a little bit, and Washington is now in their head. Now, you've coming off a Super Bowl win. You destroyed them in the NFC Championship. Why are the Eagles fans messaging me all this Washington nonsense? Like, what the hell do I care? Seriously. Why should I care? Why do you care what's going on in D.C., Landover? What do you care what's going on with Washington and Jaden Daniels and McLaurin and their defense and their offense? Why do you care? You just won the Super Bowl. You have a Super Bowl MVP. You have an offense that essentially carried, right? Carried your quarterback. Washington has always been my most hated team. Wow, as an Eagles fan, that's interesting. That's interesting. I would think maybe it would be Dallas or the Giants, not Washington. The Giant fan doesn't care about Washington because Giant fans have owned them, period. Yeah. That 1990 game, that was a bad loss by the Philadelphia Eagles, right? That was a bad loss. You're not now. Remember now that season you had the, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't you have the body bag game, right? But that game in Philly, their defense played lights out. Eagles only scored 6 points. But I'll tell you what, you know who absolutely had a quietly had a pretty big game. Ernest Biner had a couple big runs. Gerald Riggs had a couple big runs, right? Yeah, Cunningham did not play well in that game. He got sacked 5 times. So I guess to de facto's comment about Cunningham, there you go. Cunningham goes 15 of 29, 205, 1 pick, 5 sacks. Yeah, that's Hall of Fame worthy de facto. Giants next. I don't blame you on that one. Body bag game, set up watch for that 91 Super Bowl run. Yeah. Everybody got knocked out that game. That was ridiculous. I just don't get it. This obsession with the Washington fan or the Washington Commanders. I think right now they might be a little bit in the Eagles' heads. Let me see. Jared chimes in. Q, I'm not going to sit there and tell you that Jalen Hurts is overrated because I don't feel like hearing you scream for the next hour, laugh out loud, but I just don't think he's very good. Yeah, but you got to give me more context. Like, why do you guys feel Hurts is not good? I'm not even a Philadelphia Eagles fan, and I feel like I defend him the most. Like, what do you want your quarterback to do? What are you looking for? In the Green Bay game, he didn't put up monster numbers, but he accounted for 2 touchdowns, and more importantly, he didn't throw a pick. The Rams game, that was snowball. Nobody really did anything in that game, and defensively, they made a couple stops late. But again, if you look what he did on the ground with his legs, he accounted for what, 70, 72 yards and a touchdown. He didn't throw one. And then the Washington game, that was a blowout. But he also accounted for 4 touchdowns in that game, 3 rushing. So now you got 2 out of 3 really nice performances in the postseason. And then he outplayed Mahomes again in the Super Bowl. Like, I don't understand. What do we want? Do we want Mahomes? Do we want Brady? Do you want Elway? Do you want Unitas? Do you want Peyton Manning? I mean, a quarterback in the Super Bowl goes 17 of 22 for 221, 77%, 2 passing touchdowns. He adds in another 70 yards on the ground and 1 rushing touchdown. Let me do the math. That's 3 total touchdowns and 300 yards. That's a hell of a friggin' performance. And yet, it's still not good enough. I mean, I don't. Sometimes I honestly, I really kind of question the intelligence of said fan sometimes. I do. And I'm not trying to say it. I'm not trying to be malicious. I would never call anyone an idiot or stupid. I would just say that's goofy talk. I call it goofy talk. And right now, Sirianni doesn't need to come out. And that's great that he defends his quarterback. But the bottom line is, again, ultimately, if you've got a really good offensive line and an all-world running back, your quarterback doesn't have to be superhuman. Your quarterback doesn't have to drop back to pass 25, 30 times in a game. You don't. Like, sometimes you can have modest numbers that are not sexy, but you get the job done. I think he's a very good quarterback. And I also think at times he's a little frustrating because he might miss a throw, and then he makes that great play with his legs, or he finds the open receiver. I brought this up right after they won the Super Bowl. I actually put it on Facebook, and I tweeted it out. That game, we can all agree, for all intents and purposes, 24-0 at the half. That game was over. I mean, you just knew, even midway through the second quarter, the game was over. There was absolutely no way that Kansas City was coming back. You had the pick 6, it's 17-0, and then they go up, end of the first half. It's 24-0, the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay. I mentioned this on the air at the time. It's 27-0 after Kansas City turns the ball over on downs. The touchdown pass to Smith, the 46, 47 yarder, to me, that was a blank U touchdown pass to the naysayers. That was just, you guys need to shut up right now. And Hurts, and this is a great, great comment. Hurts is everything Carson Wentz wasn't. Carson Wentz was before he got hurt. Let's be fair. I remember Carson Wentz was making every throw. I was texting my buddies and we were like, is this guy legit? Is this real what we're witnessing? And then obviously the injuries happened. He tore up his knee against the Rams and Foles comes in and the rest is history. Here you go. After the shot to Smith, I started working the fireplace. That, again, that was it. Like, that throw was just absurd. And yeah, the scoop and score in that game. Yeah, I get it. Listen, we've all been there. We have all been there. That was a bad game for the Philadelphia Eagles, man. That was a really bad loss. Like, quite frankly, I know, listen, Washington was good, but the Eagles were like 4.5, 5-point favorite. They had no business losing that game. None whatsoever. But sometimes you just run into a team that's on the road and they're playing loose. But that's, again, essentially what we've seen with this Eagles team, led by Jalen Hurts. They have confidence in him. He's going to go out. He's going to make the throw. He's going to make the play. He's going to scramble when he's going to scramble. But we're so fixated on he took too many sacks. Or we go back a couple of seasons ago to the Seattle game. What was that? Sunday night, Monday Night Football? There's no way you throw that ball in the middle of the field. He's trying to make something happen. Okay, it happens. It happens. And then it got beat late. But that's the NFL. Your quarterback is not going to go out there every single Sunday, and make the milestone throw. Few do it. Tom Brady has had bad games. Peyton Manning has had bad games. Drew Brees has had bad games. Johnny Unitas has had bad games. John Elway has had bad games. But are those games, do you limit the mistakes? Can you limit the bad games over the course of a career? If you have a handful here and there, you're going to have a stinker once in a while. Or the offensive line is not going to keep you upright and you're going to be running for your life, as we've seen with a lot of young quarterbacks. You know, Hurts' best attribute is his toughness. That's his best attribute. And nothing seems to faze the kid. Where other quarterbacks keep their head down. He's just even keel. And it's probably annoying. They can win a game. He won't crack a smile. He'll go 20 of 25 for 288. He'll play pristine type of football, and he's on to the next week. Some people don't like that. It rubs them the wrong way. To me, that guy's got that inner fire burning where nothing satisfies him. Nothing, because he's probably been dadded his whole friggin' life, even in college, even in high school. When they drafted him, all I heard were the Eagles fans coming, I can't believe you're doing this. You're undermining Carson Wentz. I was like, shut up. Carson Wentz is not that good. He's always hurt. You need a backup. I had credible guys come on my radio show. Credible guys that actually said Jalen Hurts is a project quarterback. Now look at him. And I'm defending the guy, which is ridiculous. Hurts is between top 10 and top 5. So he's a top 10 quarterback. All right. That's fine. But I think because he's coming off an MVP performance and he's outplayed Mahomes, I think that kind of puts him right around top 5. I mean, look, Burrow, Jackson, Allen, Mahomes, and then insert. I mean, I feel like we play this game every couple weeks with the quarterback controversy or the quarterback, conversation. Buffalo has Allen. The Bears have a young quarterback. Cincinnati has a great quarterback and Burrow. The Browns don't have anyone. The Cowboys have a veteran in Prescott. Bo Nix is still learning. Jared Goff, get over the hump. Jordan Love's inconsistent. Titans have a rookie. The Colts have no one. Kansas City has a Hall of Famer. The Raiders have a journeyman quarterback. The Rams have an aging quarterback. Miami has a quarterback that's prone to injuries. Minnesota has a kid that's not tested. New England's got a young quarterback. I keep going on and on and on. He's top 5, top 6. What difference does it make? I don't care about the stats. I don't. I just don't care about the stats at all. Win. Just win. Win your divisional games. Win on the road. Win in the playoffs. Win me a Super Bowl. Win an MVP. I'm happy. It's the fantasy football geeks. You guys are just driven to the stats. Period. It's like you're obsessed with stats. And fantasy football has ruined it. It's ruined it to some extent how you guys look at the games objectively. You don't watch. Was the receiver blanketed? Did the hole close up on the running back? Was the quarterback being pressured? And I'm not, again, I say this with respect. I'm not bashing you guys that love and enjoy fantasy football. But now it's this, You'll pull up your notes and you'll sit there or you'll look in the paper, you'll go online and you just read the stats. And like sometimes Jalen Hurts, guys like him, you're not going to throw for 350 yards every single solitary game. You're just not. Who else would have bounced back from national title benching, not transfer immediately, go to OU and not win a chip, get crushed in the playoffs? Yeah. The kid plays with an edge. And if you want to take the Reginald Martinez-Jackson, perhaps the straw that stirs that Philly offense, that drink, so be it. A lot of teams will love a Jalen Hurts. And Again, you look at the quarterback position in the NFL, man. I mean, think about this now. The Jets just signed their wide receiver, their stud star wide receiver, a monster deal. Okay. Now, if his production drops, what are we going to sit there and say, I can't believe they signed him to 4 years, $130 million? No, you got to watch the plays. You got to watch the snaps. You got to watch the series. He's got Justin Fields. Now, they're raving about Justin Fields, but it might take a couple games for them to get on the same page. It doesn't mean that Garrett Wilson is not worth that contract, even if his stats don't line up to that contract. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, like, when a guy like Jalen Hurts comes out, and we made a case when they were 10-1 2 years ago, he could have been MVP of the season, could have been MVP of the NFL. He signed a monster deal. 5 years, $255 in 2023. That was his contract extension. He got $179 million guaranteed. So on face value, you might take a step back and say, there's no way Jalen Hurts is a $51 million a year quarterback. Well, he is. He is. And again, it shows how much he's invested in the franchise, and the franchise conversely is investing in him, because that contract has a no trade clause, which is the first in Eagles history. He's not going anywhere. He's your quarterback. He's your quarterback. They can go 4-13 and he struggles. He's going to be the quarterback after next season. It's just the bottom line. So again, if the stats don't line up, but they get to the playoffs again, do you know how hard it is to win a Super Bowl and get back? Come on. It's so hard. You know how hard it is to get to the Super Bowl, win it, get back there, win it again? That's what makes what New England did, Kansas City has done. You know, the Cowboys in the 90s, the Steelers in the 70s, the 49ers in the 80s. Now the game is so different because of free agency and guys moving and, you know, the shuffling and the shaking and the bacon. It's so different now. I think it appears that Hurts doesn't put the team on his back, but he does the little things very often that go overlooked, like the 8-yard run on 3rd and 7, keeping a play alive to hit a first down. Correct. Now, are we talking about Hurts run a car? Are we going Hurts? What people forget is the quarterback's job is to do what is asked of him and win the game. That's exactly what Hurts does. Correct. And he saves you on mileage. Hertz. All right, 5:27, quick timeout. We'll come back on the other side. By the way, I got a man-up story for you. I mean, I don't know. I'm hoping you guys side with me on this one, so we'll break it down on the other side. Keep it locked in. It is indeed a Monday edition, Middays with Q. We are live Monday to Friday, 4 to 6. Rich Quinones here. If you guys are just tuning in for the first time on a Monday, we like to call it a Lunes Manolo Mentios Man Up Monday. We're calling out the BS takes, and a lot of them occurred over the weekend. You can always get social with us on social media, Triax57, Triax57.com, of course on X. And you can check me out on X and IG at RichQ on Q. And, of course, on TikTok, RichQ on the mic. All right, quick timeout. We'll come back on the other side. We'll take you up to 6 o'clock straight up.
The blast got the drinks pouring. Take a risk like it's a short thing. Going in, yeah, I'm going all in. Get it out, yeah, you can bring a friend. Dive right in, let's go. Move forward and dip in the flow. Let the rhythm take control. It's going down tonight, yeah. Dive right in, let's go. Going down tonight, yeah. Dive right in. Let's go.
This is what the Down Beach Seafood Fest is all about. It's about community, it's about friends, it's about culture, right? The food culture in Atlantic County is rich.
Hidden in an abandoned campground in South Jersey lies a mystical encounter with booze and spirits. where bonfires burn, shadows dance, and flavor favors the bold. Ghosts, ghouls, goblins, grown-ups, it's time to reclaim Halloween. This is Witchcraft, October 10th and 11th. For tickets and information, visit witchcraftnj.com.
Hi, I'm Bruce Pascoe. I'm very fortunate. Years ago, I found something that I genuinely like to do, and it's something that helps other people. What I do is help people transition from traditional health insurance into Medicare. I've been doing it here in Atlantic County for more than 20 years. If you're getting ready for Medicare, call me for a free consultation. 609-484-9800.
All right, 5:31 on a Monday edition, Middays with Q. A lot of comments coming in. We will rip them off. We'll take you up to 6 o'clock straight up. Rich Quinones is here. We are live Monday to Friday from 4 to 6. By the way, so how about this? Well, let me get to some of these comments, and then I will certainly read these off because I honestly, I don't know where I really want to go with this. So I'm still contemplating it. But with that being said, we will get into it. Tom and Summers point, Q, without a doubt, Hertz is probably about 5 or 6. I can give a Watts Heine about the stats. All he does is win. I like to see him be a little more consistent at times in the pocket. But look, at the end of the day, he signed that contract. He's making the money and he cashed in. And oh, by the way, he's a Super Bowl MVP. You can't say that about a lot of Eagles quarterbacks enjoying the show. Thank you, Tommy. Appreciate that. No, you can't. You can't. All right. So let me, sorry, I used a voice thingy, unintentional shot at Eagles fans. That's what Carl Raleigh sounds like. He should have been the bad guy on the Yankees. What is that? Oh, in Major League, underrated, very underrated. So let me get to let me pull this up for a second. Hold on a second. So how about this? So this is the story. This, you want to talk about a manning up story? Did you guys see about the woman that was arrested after, are you ready? Texting a man 159,000 times. I mean, that's, that's wow. That's a lot. Jacqueline Adi sent a man more than 159,000 text messages. I mean, some of which were threatening over the course of nearly 10 months, according to police records obtained by the Arizona Republic. So I want to use my liberal arts math and break that down. I had a chuckle. It's not funny, but I had a chuckle when it says some of those were threatening. Okay. I'm trying to wrap my head around this. It breaks down to 530 texts a day. They went out how many times? One. I mean, obviously, she was not happy about the outcome going forward because one of her texts was, I would make sushi out of your kidneys. I mean, I think about that. I mean, those numbers are that's like a lot of work. Where do you find the time? I mean, don't get me wrong. We get to the point, especially guys, we don't talk on the phone. We text. We'll send reels. That's what we do. We'll bombard each other with reels. That's the amount of text one of my buddies sends of his son in 7th grade JV ball. $5:35. That's a lot of texts. I mean, that's a busy day if you ask me. I mean, do you work? And when did they start to become threatening? Like, I would probably say after the 20th. Oh, here, how about this? Can you imagine if, now, do you think he had the read receipt on? By the way, we have a rule on the show. What happens on the show stays on the show. We have a rule. That's always been a rule. From 4 to 6, 3 to 6, 4 to 7, 3 to 7, doesn't matter. Does not matter. Whatever occurs during on-air hours stays in between that time slot. I'm just throwing it out there because some people have poor etiquette. Period. They have poor etiquette. And I know what they do. They like to sit back and they like to do a little witchcraft and they like to stir it. It's not happening. Jose Camden chimes in. Q, I can't believe he actually scored that fight that close. I thought Serrano won hands down. Jose, did we watch the same fight? It was a close fight. What do you want me to say? It was a close fight. It was a good card. By the way, can we give a little credit to Shakur Stevenson? Can we? Everyone's killing this kid because he's not a fan-friendly fighter. And what does he do? He retains his title and defeats William Zepeda. Actually fought well, engaged in the pocket, moved around, countered. Everyone talking about Shakur Stevenson being a not fan-friendly kind of fighter, always lack, the tenderness to engage and want to throw. And he did actually the opposite. Kid threw, almost 300 punches. I'm sorry, 600 punches. He landed 300. That's very Shakur Stevenson unlike. So let's kind of give credit where credit is due. And Jose, by the way, you've been listening for years. I know you're not a fan of Shakur Stevenson. So man up on a Monday. Give him his just due. Man up, please. He boxed exceptionally well. I told you, my girl, Ellie Scottnoy, put on a very good show. JC, Q, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Hurts is top 5, but he does all the little things really good. He's not going to blow you away. I'm not really a fan of the stats, and I agree with you. I think sometimes fantasy football, the geeks kind of make it more than it is, but ultimately he's a winner, and that's all I care about as an Eagles fan. That's all you should care about as an Eagles fan. That's really it. Nick and Y for chimes back in. Q, I like the fact that Sirianni is actually backing Jalen Hurts. I don't think he would have done it for a quarterback like Carson Wentz. That's purely speculation. Doug was not a Carson. You can tell they were just not on the same page, but that's purely speculation. I mean, Sirianni is a guy, like him, loathe him. It doesn't matter. The players love him. I'm not going to sit there and tell you they play for him, because if you're making $300 million, you should play, hard no matter what. You're playing for that contract. You're playing for your livelihood, for your reputation, for your families. Obviously your team, yes, but it doesn't matter who's on the sideline. They're not, Hurts is not going out there saying, "Oh, I gotta play hard for this guy." He's not. Sirianni is going to defend his players. And remember, when you win, all the stories come out. That's just how it is. When you win, that's when you sit there and you get those great sound bites. Oh, I can't believe he called that audible. I can't believe he said he's going to Smith. But when you lose, we're not going to see those highlights. We're not. That's not going to be out there for the fan base. It's not going to be out there for the talking heads. It's not going to be out there for social media. Winning cures all, and this team has been consistently good over the last several years, if not great at times. I wish my Giants were like that. I wish my Giants had that in place. I do. I wish they had the type of offense that the Philadelphia Eagles had, or the structure, or the discipline, or the GM that knows how to crunch numbers. The head coach, I'm not a fan of the Giants head coach, and I'm not a fan of Nick Sirianni. But put them together, Sirianni wins. Now, you got to have talent. You got to attach yourself to talent. But point is, look at the way the organization is ran. I mean, the Giants are a laughingstock. For the guys that chime in and say, well, you're always drinking the Washington juice. Yeah, look how that organization is being run right now. They cleaned house. The teams that operate under certain guys, the team and the franchises that have all their pieces aligned and everyone's buying in, from walking in the facility to the person greeting you, to security, to the secretary, to the assistant, to the assistant, to the assistant, to the traveling secretary, to the George Costanzas of the world when he worked with the Yankees. They're all in lock, step, and barrel, right? They're all locked in as an organization. You feed on it. You feel it. When you've got guys that are going rogue, or there's some type of toxic culture in a building, like we've seen over the years with the Browns, with the Jets, with the Giants, with Washington, that's never good. And it doesn't matter how talented of a team you have. If your culture stinks, you're not winning. You don't have to love your teammate. You don't have to love your head coach. You don't have to love the coaching staff. You don't. But you got to respect them, and you have to want to go to bat for them, and you have to want to battle with them and for them. And if you look around the NFL, there's only a handful of teams that we can say every single season have a puncher's chance to win it all. Buffalo, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Detroit, Philly, Kansas City, San Fran, when they're healthy and right. You know what I'm saying? That's it. That's it. Because it's how they build up their organizations. It's how they build up their franchises. Remember years ago when Lurie basically said about the gold standard and everyone, laughed at him? What have they done since? 3 Super Bowls in how many years? A decade? That's a hell of a run. That's a hell of a run. Not a lot of franchises can say that. When teams make their runs and these dynasties are dynasties, because every single season they're winning their 12, 13, 14 games. They're winning the division. They're making a run in the playoffs. They're hosting AFC, NFC championship games. So everything goes hand in hand. Jalen Hurts is, right now he's counting his money. He's looking at his nice shiny MVP trophy, but he's also locked in. He's getting ready for the season, as he should be. Because once September rolls around, Thursday night kickoff against Dallas, which I think they are going to absolutely cook and wax the Cowboys, everything else is forgotten. Yet, the storyline, the rings, the banner, raise it, ring ceremony, fantastic. Opening kickoff, you're the defending champ, everyone's going to gun for you. So whatever happened in February, happened in February. Now you're at this point. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it? And there are a few quarterbacks in the NFL that do not get phased. There are a few quarterbacks in the NFL that don't get rattled. He's right there. Brady never got rattled. Yeah, you can hit him off his spot, physically, but he wasn't seeing ghost. Montana was cool. Bradshaw was tough. Elway was just a gunslinger, right? Peyton Manning had that, that meticulous approach, but was always surveying the field, was playing chess. Everyone else was playing checkers. Eli, to some extent, not phased. But these are all quarterbacks that won championships that I'm talking about. They won at a high level. And sometimes they didn't put up gaudy stats. And I think we just need to keep going back to that. It's not always stats. Fantasy geeks seem to forget that Hurts had the second most fantasy points ever, Super Bowl 57, just behind Steve Young in Super Bowl 29. He played well. He counted for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's all I care about. And that dagger throw to Smith was basically, an FU to everyone. That's all that was. That's all that was. That was telling a lot of people, shut up. A lot of people. Andy chimes in. Q, 159,000 text messages. I would say that's a little overboard. It is. 530 texts a day. So we got 24 hours in a day. Can you imagine looking at your phone and getting 20 to 30 texts an hour over 24 hours? Like nonstop? That's not good. Oh, she actually broke into this man's house. Huh. Man was out of the country when she allegedly broke into his house, but he saw her through home surveillance video, called police. According to the police statement, officers found her taking a bath and arrested her. Wow, the hits just keep on coming. So we got felony charges, correct? We have well, you got to have criminal trespassing, I would think. Wow. When interviewed about the incident in jail, she said, quote, "I felt like I met my soulmate and everything was just the way it was," she told reporters in a healthy voice. "And I thought we'd just do what everyone else did and just get married, and that's not what happened." Huh. Now, let's break this down a little more, shall we? Go out on your date, nice little vino, nice little dinner, and a little kiss on the cheek on a little Saturday night, walk her home, the gentleman. The next day, you want to send that "I had a nice time" text, or, make sure that you got home, or even, you know what? Call him up. That's fine. You don't even have time to do that because you're getting bombarded with 30, 40 text messages an hour. Whew. That would just scare the bejeebuses out of anyone, right? It's definitely too much, you think? I can't tell you how many shallow right field pop outs we've seen. I mean, you think that's too much? You think? I mean, oh, Madman is, oh my goodness. We need to take you on a Wednesday and give you a Woosah Wednesday. Q, what are XP points and why do I need them? They appear next to the name on the YouTube comment. What are you asking me that for? I don't know. You want me to go on my YouTube channel right now when I'm friggin' on the air trying to do a sports talk show Monday to Friday for 2 hours a day? De facto? I don't know. Maybe it's spam. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe it's that person wondering why I haven't turned around and accepted the cookie only fans invite. I don't know. My God, unbelievable. Start talking about reading the room. Now I have to pull up my YouTube channel so you can start hearing it. It's just a count of chats you made. Oh, there you go. Thank you. Thank you, Ball. My God. Ball gets it. He gets it. He understands he's reading a room and not to be disruptive. I mean, just de facto, I can't deal with you anymore today. I can't. 547. That's it. You're done. You're done. You're done. You're done. You're out today. You're out on a Monday. That's it. I mean, you're asking me what the hell's going on the YouTube channel. I don't know. I have no idea. I got invites for cookies only coming over here. We got a Mount Rushmore cookie. People are pissed off that I didn't mention the friggin' gingerbread cookie. I don't know about the gingerbread cookie. It's like a top 5, top 10. Utterly ridiculous. I got the Madman shooting off, shots left and right, which, by the way, are funny, but still. Trying to do a job over here. Do I go to your office and tell you how to do your job? Do I? Am I disruptive? No. Absolutely not. Unbelievable. I mean, it's really, really, really perplexing, to be quite honest with you. It really is. My God. It's a good thing it's not a Wednesday. It really is. It's a good thing it's not a Wednesday. Rob chimes in Glasgow, Delaware. Q, I am pumped for my, quote, Washington Commanders. I actually think they're going to win the NFC East, and shame on those Eagles fans for dismissing Jaden Daniels. I don't know if that's with sarcasm, passive aggressive. Loyal listeners notice everything. That is new today. Yeah, I mean, I give you credit, man. You're locked in, but still. FYI, I am winning. Is it new? They're biting off of Twitch. Really? I don't use Twitch. I don't like Twitch. I know it's a gamer site. I had to stop using Kicks. You know that? I had to. I tried to use Kicks, and then all of a sudden, for the comments I thought were like sports related, and they want to sell me subscriptions. I love Daniels at ASU. I watched him when Herm was the head coach. Stud. I think this kid's going to have a monster season. I really do. I'm allowed to, when we're talking about the NFC East, obviously contrary to what some Eagles fans might think, I think I've given the Eagles their just due. Ball, I'm not even going there. I will take your word for it. I'm sure the madman will also entertain that comment as well. The first part, yes, I was not aware of the second part, but thank you for letting the audience know that. So I'm giving Washington their just due. I am. And maybe they take a step back. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't make it to the NFC Championship. Hell, maybe they missed the playoffs. But what I'm saying is they're going to be a very tough team to deal with over the next 5, 6, 7 years in the NFC East. That's all I'm saying. The NFL is cynical. You can be down for a long time, and all of a sudden, you turn around. Madman can turn. All right, you confirm. That's fine. Got to find a way to get some of that in some money. You guys are pieces of work. All I'm saying is eventually it's cynical. Teams can flip. They can do a 180. They can be bad for a long time. They can, have a couple big signings. They can get the benefit of a soft schedule, weak schedule. They can get a top 5, 6, 7 draft pick. They can get a franchise quarterback, and they turn it around. Washington's one of those teams. We saw it with the Lions. Obviously, they pulled the trigger for a veteran quarterback. Cincinnati, we saw it once they got Burrow. Here we go. I mean, it just happens. Patrick Mahomes sitting behind Alex Smith. Boom. So, enjoy it. Enjoy the Super Bowl win. But as soon as the season kicks off for the Eagles fans on Thursday night against the Dallas Cowboys, after all the hoo-hoo-ha and all that other nonsense of smoke and mirrors, you're not going to be the hunters. You will be the hunted because you're defending Super Bowl champs. Everyone's going to try to knock you off. Everyone's going to give you your best punch. There is a sentiment, okay? There's a sentiment that the Eagles fans or the Eagles are, they're not a likable lunch. They're not a likable bunch. They're not. They're an arrogant team, but they won. They backed it up. Everyone is going to wait for them to fall on their heinies. They are. They're waiting, and everyone's going to gun for them, period. Right? 99 Rams, 1 trade and 1 blown chip. Yeah. Yep. It's a great point. And remember, too, that 99, so when they beat the Titans, the next season they come back and have that down year. And they lost that wild card game to the Saints. I mean, it's just, and even if you go back, that team started what? What were they in 1998? They won 3 games. They won 4 games. And then look what happens. Now, granted, Trent Green goes down, Dick Vermeil crying, preseason, we will rally around Kurt Warner and we will play good football. He came out of nowhere. And that was a dominating team. I mean, they raced out of the gate 6-0, then they lost 2, then they ripped off another 4 or 5 in a row. And let's be honest, aside from that Tampa Bay game, yes, the Super Bowl was a great defensive game. They, that high-scoring game against Minnesota they couldn't stop them. That was like what the Eagles did to Washington. That's like what Washington did to Dallas. That game, the Rams, Minnesota had no answers. Even when they were trying to come back and they were throwing haymakers, the Rams just sat back there. Kurt Warner, here we go. I'm going to sit in the pocket and just, boom, boom, boom. By the way, you remember the quarterback for the Vikings that year? Jeff George. Hurts has continued to impress in every year. I expect the same this year, and maybe he jumps Burrow Mahomes for the cover to top 4 QBs. Who cares if he jumps them? I think this is a down year for Kansas City. I really do. I'm not going to tell you that they're, quote, cooked. I already told you I like Denver coming out of the AFC West, but I think this is the year where we start to see Kansas City gets old. And that's, that happens very fast. It does. You get old fast in sports. I mean, your heart and your mind want to keep going. Your body won't allow it. But I think this is a year Kansas City might kind of, be humbled a little bit. And you got so many hungry teams now in the AFC. You have so many hungry teams. You got, they're not great teams, but they're hungry and they want to knock them off their perch. Like Denver's a good team. They want to knock Kansas City off their perch. Chargers are a decent team. They want to knock Kansas City off their perch. They want to make a run. Cincinnati's trying to fix that defense. Buffalo wants to get over that hump. You got a great quarterback and questionable head coach, but an all-time great. And Allen, you got some offensive playmakers. You just need to get over that hump. And even if Kansas City gets to the playoffs, it kind of reminds me of like the bad boys winning, getting a little older, and then finally get there. And by the time you get there, the third, fourth, fifth time around, you're gassed, you're shot, you're spent. You got nothing left in the tank. You got no more bullets to fire. I think that's exactly what's going to happen in Kansas City this upcoming season. I really do. I do. They might win their 11, 12 games, but man, last season, it's not like they were not blowing out teams. They just weren't. They were not blowing out teams. They really had to work for some of these wins. And they started to leak some oil. Sure, you never want to bet against Kansas City. You never want to bet against Patty Mahomes. You never want to bet against Kelsey. That's kind of, how we always look at that team. But in that Super Bowl, Eagles took a page right out of Tampa Bay's playbook. And they just dominated them. They just thoroughly dominated. I mean, Kansas City didn't have a prayer in that game. That game might have been over prior to teams taking the field, national anthem. That was just a devastating loss. And I don't know if they respond to that. You get waxed like that in the Super Bowl and humbled, and you're on the cusp of being a dynasty, on the cups of, back to back to back. That, that's, like I said, that's very, very, very humbling. Q, did you see happy birthday to Kelly Leak? Oh, Bad News Bears. He's batting .841 with the Bears. That's a classic movie. If you get a chance, watch the original Bad News Bears. That's a great movie. That kid was hitting everything. That kid was hitting everything back in the day. I mean, he was just fastball, slider, curveball. Doesn't matter what Boilermaker was throwing at him. Doesn't matter what Tatum O'Neal was throwing at him. That kid was just absolutely on fire. I did not know. Happy birthday. Good for him. I think he was nominated for an Academy Award once too. Go figure, right? All right. Good stuff with the cookie list. Some of you guys are still laughing. Some of you guys are actually still sending me in the top 5. We got to go with those pink and green ones. I think they sneak in the top 5. The Milanos I'm fine with. The black and white Oreos, that's fine. And the Thin Mint. That's kind of how I round it out. I think it's a competitive list. I think it's a tasty list. I think you can't go wrong with any type of cookie in that regard. Let me get in one more. Mary chimes back in Delaware, actually in Lower Delaware, Cape Henlopen, which I always used to butcher when I was on the air. She says, Q, that is a lot of text messages. I dated a guy for 6 months. We wound up getting married, and I haven't texted him since. I think, is that a joke? Man might have a run at the jokes. All right. There we go. Mrs. Fields Mall cookies were great. Mrs. Fields in the Morristown Mall and the Cherry Hill Mall, I think there was the shop right next to Auntie M's Pretzels, which if you got those pretzels, you had to have 1,000 napkins because as soon as you stuck your hand in there and you got the butter and then you put it on the steering wheel, accidents were bound to happen, my friend. You know it. And I know it. All right, got to start wrapping up. Good stuff with the comments. Back in the saddle tomorrow. Lloyd Vance in the 5 o'clock hour. John Marshall, a little NBA Summer League. You as well. We'll continue with or Steve Gardner tomorrow. Baseball talk as well. Midsummer Classic. We'll get into the trade deadline. Keep them rolling. Keep them rolling. Keep them rolling. Yes, we will go pretzel talk for another day. A lot of parking meters down there in Florida with pretzels, are there not? All right, good stuff as always. You guys are fantastic. I appreciate you tuning in for 2 hours with the comments. Just absolutely love it. Have a good sports Monday. As always, don't forget, get social with us. Follow along Triax57 on all social media platforms. You can follow me at Rich Q on TikTok, Rich Q on the mic. And as always, a Monday, a Lunes Manolo Mendioso Man Up Monday edition, powered by our good friends over at Triax57. Have a good sports Monday. Be safe, be sound. We will be back in the saddle mañana at 4 o'clock. As always, hasta luego, buen día.